Hey everybody, it's Professor Klein back in the Human Anatomy Lab at Ohio University, and today I'm joined by...
Hi, I'm Kian Durkin. I'm a third-year biological sciences major here at Ohio University.
And Kian was one of my TAs and has helped out in the lab. And Kian, tell the audience, what are we learning today?
Today we're going to discuss the brachial plexus.
All right, first question to answer is the big picture question, and we'll see if Kian remembers this. He was a student in my class as well. Kian, what is the brachial plexus?
Well, Professor Klein, the brachial plexus is essentially a network of nerves that extends from the spinal cord up under the clavicle, down into the axillary region, and then down the arm.
All right, I love that. And there's no teleprompter. He's not reading that off of anything. That's just from his memory. And so what you're saying, the brachial plexus kind of looks like this.
Yeah, basically. Or like this.
Okay. How about this? And I start to see a lot of spinal nerves. I see trunks, something called trunks. I see something called divisions, cords, and peripheral nerves. Is that right?
That is correct. That is correct. There are 5 different parts to the brachial plexus, and they're exactly what Professor Klein just said.
Spinal nerves, which are often called spinal nerve roots, or the anterior rami of the spinal nerve. Then we have the trunks, and then we have the divisions, and this is where we've got some merging and crisscrossing, and eventually they become cords. See the cords on the screen right now. And finally they become peripheral nerves. Now in lab, we get a little bit artistic with it here. We make these pipe cleaner brachial plexus models in lab. You remember making one of these in lab?
I do.
What can you tell the audience about this pipe cleaner model?
Well, you start up here at something called the spinal roots. You start here at C5.
Good, that white one's C5, black one is C6, green one is C7, the yellow one is C8, and the red one down here is T1. These are the 5 spinal nerves that make up the brachial plexus, but it gets real jumbled in the middle. And then what you'll notice is that a lot of those nerves merge together. In this case, the pipe cleaners are wrapped around each other to form what we call our peripheral nerves. Spinal nerves branch off the spinal cord. Peripheral nerves are going to innervate muscles. But let's take a look at this on the actual skeleton. All right, here we are on the actual skeleton. This is where the brachial plexus would be in your body, right up here. And now these spinal nerves would be coming off the spinal cord. Kian, what do we got here? Talk us through it again.
Well, we have, as what Professor Klein said, we have the spinal roots. So here in white represents C5. Here in black represents C6. C7 is right here in green. We have C8 in yellow, and then we have T1 in red.
Cool. So those are coming off here. What the heck is this giant pink thing here? It's like a big tube of tape. Do you know what that would be?
Would that be a muscle?
Wouldn't it be a muscle? Wouldn't it be a nerve? At home, what do you guys think? I'm going to put 3 options on the screen for you here. It's not a nerve. It's not a muscle. If you guessed it is an artery, you would be correct. So there's actually a big old artery going through the brachial plexus. And up here, it's called the subclavian artery. Down here, it's called the axillary artery. And then when you get that artery down the arm, it's called the brachial artery. So that big pink thing is an artery. Well, let's get back to the brachial plexus. And again, reminder on your screen, here's a picture of the brachial plexus. We're not going to really focus on the trunks, even though you can see the superior, the middle, and the inferior trunk. We're not going to focus on the divisions, even though you can see the anterior and posterior divisions. I've got other videos on those. I'll lecture through those for you. But with this, we're focused more on the spinal nerves, the cords, and the peripheral nerves. So Kian, take us down to the cords. Kian, jump on in here. Let me give you the magic probe.
Thank you, Professor Klein.
And tell us about these cords.
So right here we have the medial cord, the lateral cord right here, and then moving the axillary artery out of the way, we see the posterior cord.
So what you're saying is the brachial plexus is actually more 3D than we might think?
That is correct. To get the best understanding possible of the brachial plexus, you have to look at it in a 3D aspect because it's 3D in the body.
Excellent. That is so true. All right, so those were the cords on to the peripheral nerves. And we've got 5 peripheral nerves. Now on this model, on the skeleton here, we've actually extended these nerves all the way down to where they would travel in the body. But something like this, our normal brachial plexus, they kind of cut off maybe 1 inch, 2 inches after those nerves are formed. So let's go through it on the actual skeleton first, and then we'll quiz you guys on the other pipe cleaner. All right, Kian, jump back in here. What peripheral nerves do we have?
So right here we have the musculocutaneous nerve.
Okay, and that one seems to have 3 colors. I can see white, I can see black, I can see green. What does that mean that it has those 3 colors?
That means that this nerve consists of spinal root C5, C6, and C7.
All right, I like that. I like that. Let's keep going. What's this one right here?
That would be the median nerve.
Tell me about the median nerve. You are correct.
So the median nerve, it extends all the way down the forearm, and the median nerve is going to be responsible for some muscles in the forearm as well as some muscles in the hand as well.
All right, so you're saying this musculocutaneous actually stops at the brachium area because it innervates. You can see the muscles on your screen, the biceps brachii, the brachialis, and the coracobrachialis. So you're saying this is actually where it stops, but the median would travel all the way down here because it innervates more of these muscles in the arm. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. Let's see this other one here. We got red. Well, before I keep going, what spinal nerves compose the median nerve?
Median would be all 5. So C5, C6, C7, C8, and T1.
Awesome, awesome. So you can see all 5 colors. That's all 5 spinal nerves that make up that median nerve. What about this red and yellow one? Kind of a cool combination of colors, red and yellow.
This nerve, represented by red and yellow, would be the ulnar nerve.
Okay. What spinal nerve roots compose that nerve?
The ulnar nerve would be composed by C8 and T1.
Sounds good. Whoa, wait a minute, man. I heard there's something called the brachial plexus M. Is there a brachial plexus M?
There is, yes. The M is right here.
So it looks like a combination of the musculocutaneous the median and the ulnar forming an M. And if you were upside down, it'd be a W, but in this case, it's an M. That's what we call the brachial plexus M. So be very knowledgeable of that. And just looking here, it looks like musculocutaneous is coming off that lateral cord. The ulnar nerve is coming off the medial cord, and the median nerve is a combination of the lateral cord and the medial cord. Remember that as you're learning the brachial plexus. All right, Kian, any final things on those nerves before we jump to the posterior stuff?
Yes, don't get the medial cord and the median nerve mixed up.
Sounds good to me. Let's jump posterior.
So here we have a look at the posterior cord.
And it looks like there's two nerves that branch off the posterior cord. Can you point out those two nerves there?
Yes, so first we have the axillary nerve, which is right here. And then the other nerve that branches off the posterior cord would be the radial nerve.
Let me jump posterior here so you guys can see those. These are actually posterior in the body. So notice this big nerve here, which is composed of spinal nerve C5 through T1. This is radial, and it's going to travel down the posterior aspect of the arm all the way to the hand. And this muscle innervates everything posterior from the triceps brachii on down. But then don't miss out on this other one here. See how this one is branching out? It's black and white, which means it's going to be C5, C6, and it's going to hit a muscle called the teres minor. You guys remember the teres minor from the rotator cuff video? If you haven't seen that video, check that video out. But it's going to hit the teres minor and the deltoids. Kian, where would the deltoids be? It's not shown on here, but where would it be?
The deltoid, well, there's three different divisions to the deltoid muscle. There would be the one that would be on the front, or the pectoral deltoid. There would be the acromial deltoid, and then there would be the scapular deltoid.
Okay, so if I put my hand here, it'd be like right here. Wait a minute. The deltoids touch the axillary nerve, so they have to be innervated by that nerve.
That is correct.
Love it. All right, let's go ahead and pop off the brachial plexus, and I'm going to give you the short version here. As you can see, this is only the brachial plexus part, not the extensions of these nerves. But let's look in here where you can see C5, C6, C7, C8, and T1. Kian, go ahead. Let's make this thing truly 3D. If you lift up that brachial plexus M, let's see that M here. All right, here we can see it 3D, and Kian's holding that up for us. And when we see 3D, we can see C5, C6, C7, C8, T1, and it turns into the cord. So we got the lateral cord here, leading out to the musculocutaneous nerve. Then we got the medial cord leading out to the ulnar nerve, and those cords merge to make the median nerve. But look through there, and you guys see this. I'm going to try to keep it so you can see in the back. The back has the posterior cord. There it is. Lift that up. I'm going to hold it down. Lift it up, Kian. There you go. You guys see that one in the back? That's the posterior cord with, keep it just like that, the radial nerve and the axillary nerve right there. All right, so that was the brachial plexus and everything about it. That's a ton of information, right? Kian, I got a mnemonic for you to help you remember all of that. Here's the mnemonic. Whoa. Here it is. Here's the mnemonic. It's 3 musketeers, assassinated, 5 mice, 5 rats, 2 unicorns. Kind of gory, right? But and silly, but what does this mean? Well, I saw this online, and in the comments, I'm gonna pin a comment with a link to where I found this mnemonic, but I added a little bit to it. The mnemonic is to remember which spinal nerves compose each of the peripheral nerves. You label your fingers, and you don't actually have to write this in, but I did this for the sake of this video. You label your thumb C5. You label your index finger C6. Label your middle finger C7. And your ring finger C8. And your pinky finger T1. Then, when you say the first one, 3 musketeers, I want you to hold up these 3 fingers. Kian's doing it, I'm doing it, do it at home. And what that means is the word musketeer sounds like musculocutaneous. The musculocutaneous nerve is composed of C5, C6, C7 spinal nerves. Next is assassinated. If a secret agent wants to assassinate somebody, they're going to use a gun. Thumb, index finger, the axillary nerve is C5, C6. Let's keep going. The next 2 are easy. 5 mice. Mice, median, and that's all 5, C5 through T1. 5 rats. Same thing, all 5 spinal nerves compose the radial nerve. But then finally, be careful, this last one, finally, the unicorns is ulnar, which is C8 and T1.
Wait a minute, Professor Klein. What about the muscles that they innervate?
The mnemonic's not done yet. It gets even better, and this is my adaptation to this mnemonic I found online. Here's what I add in. I say 3 musketeers, which is musculocutaneous nerve, and a musketeer, it's like a strong guy, right? Somebody that would fight back in the olden days. Here's a picture of a musketeer for you. A musketeer flexes their arms, and when you flex your arms, you are flexing your biceps brachii, your brachialis, and your coracobrachialis, the 3 muscles that, nice biceps, the 3 muscles that are innervated by the musculocutaneous nerve. It gets better though, because next, it looks like a gun, right? If you make a gun with your fingers here, kind of also looks like a needle for assassinate or axillary. Okay, and do you know where needles go for, let's say, a shot or a vaccination?
Near the acromion and the deltoid.
You're taking the needle, you're putting it into the deltoid, which is one of the 2 muscles that the axillary nerve innervates. What's the other muscle?
Teres minor.
Teres minor is correct. So you got 1 for that. How about 5 mice? Mice, median. When I'm working at the computer right here, check out my YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit me with some likes. When I'm working at the computer and I use a computer mouse, my wrist is flexed, my fingers are flexing, and my thumb is flexing, which is where the median nerve innervates in your body. So think of a computer mouse and flexing your wrist, your thumb, and your index finger. Oh my gosh, did you guys see that rat? Anytime you see a rat, or at least when I would see rats running around, not that that happens that often, but if I did, then I would extend my elbow, extend my wrist, extend my fingers, and get that rat out of wherever I'm at. I don't like rats. Maybe you do. Do you like rats?
Not a fan of them.
We're not really fans of rats here, so we are gonna backhand those rats and get them out. Well, guess what? The radial nerve innervates all the muscles posterior that would extend your elbow, extend your wrist, and extend your fingers and your thumb. So think about swatting that rat out of the way for radial. Last up, let's bring it home with unicorns. Ulnar, when you hold up these two fingers, it's C8, T1. The ulnar nerve is going to innervate your pinky finger muscles. Pinky finger muscles here. There's one in the forearm, but mainly it's the pinky fingers. So remember that when you think these two fingers for ulnar. That's a ton of information, but we're not done yet. There's one more thing I got for you. Hopefully you like this mnemonic. Here's one more thing for you to learn the brachial plexus, because this is not easy, right? This is tough stuff. So let me teach you one last thing in this video. All right, here's one last way to remember the musculocutaneous, the median, and the ulnar. Remember I had my fingers labeled here? Well, if I take these three fingers, C5, C6, C7 for musculocutaneous, and I put them together, they would form the musculocutaneous. Now take your remaining two fingers, and this might take a little bit of practice, but split them over here. Now C8 and T1, that's your ulnar. But when you merge them together, all 5 spinal nerve roots equal the median nerve. So hopefully that helped you out. Hopefully all this has helped you out to learn the brachial plexus. Whew. All right, that is all that I have and we have to teach you on the brachial plexus. This has been the video on that brachial plexus, and hopefully this has helped you a ton with that. So I'm Professor Klein from the... Kian, do you hear something?
I don't know. What is that?
I feel like I hear something. Ah! Oh! The rats are back! Jesus!